grab a drink, get comfy, and prepare to learn about
the strange, the unusual, and the downright stupid things you didn't think that you needed to know about.
I'm Kaila.
And I'm Brooke. And this is Drunk in the Library. Again.
I feel like we haven't sat here at these microphones in quite a minute, Brookie.
I know. Made me miss it.
I know.
I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, damn, sometimes we pre-record too far ahead. And then I miss this.
Then I have no joy.
And then I am sadder than I usually am. So, we do have a question, comment, concern.
Yes, from our last episode regarding cat domestication, and we were talking about the Egyptian word for cat, which is indeed meow, aka the sound that they make.
Brilliant.
Just
fucking
truly
brilliant. So an Egyptian meow is just an Egyptian cat.
Yes.
So good. So simplistic. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, before we jump in, obviously, support us.
Yes, please. If you guys find value in what we do and like get a laugh out of us, please like, comment, subscribe. Leave us a comment on our Facebook page. Leave us a review. If you do leave a review and like we get like a couple more, then we'll add them to the website, and then you get to be like on our website forever, which is pretty hilarious and awesome.
Which is like kind of fancy. Yeah. Like, I would do it. I would leave a review for myself if I could.
If that were allowed.
If that were allowed, but I don't make the rules. And
we could review each other.
Oh, I could. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, that co-host over there, A+. We'd look like assholes, just like when you put your mom on there, and like,
and her name is also Brooke, so it's just
it literally looked like I said it, but then you put Kayla's mom, which looks even funnier now.
Yeah, that's even better.
But you know, whatever. We have reviews, so that's nice. So please do that for us. We'd really appreciate it. Now, onward.
Yes, you are up first today, Brookie.
So, I've started to try to tell stories to you first, because I know how much you love it.
I really do.
And I also like being dramatic. So...
You're so good at it.
I know. If only I could make a career. Okay.
You can. It's called acting, but you'd be a terrible actor.
Yeah, I know. I can't keep my shit together. Alrighty. So, we begin. Northern Scotland, 565 AD. Irish monk St. Columba is taking a leisurely stroll down by the river when he comes upon the locals burying a man. So when pushed for explanation, they tell him that this man was swimming in the river when he was attacked and mauled by a water beast. He was quickly dragged underwater and died upon rescue. So St. Columba was shocked, but also pretty curious.
Yeah, sure, why not?
So he decided the best way to test this was to send one of his disciples to swim across the river, essentially as bait.
Love it. To
his complete surprise, the creature did approach him, but St. Columba was not fucking having this shit. So he made the sign of the cross, and in so many words, he told that creature to fuck off.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. The creature was like, oh, all right. And then he pieced the fuck out, leaving the man bait alone. This river today is known as the River Ness, which flows right into the famous Loch Ness. This would be the earliest report to date of the wondrous creature known as Nessie, aka my favorite, the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes!
So last week we talked about your favorite cryptid. Today we're going to talk about mine.
Yes!
So my sources are Wikipedia, ScienceAlert.com, Britannica.com, and visit InvernessLochNess.com. So,
seems legit.
It's like their travel website. Like whole, like, you know how like places like,
like
visit,
Travelocity.
Yeah, visit Canada.
Yeah.
This is theirs. It's a pretty cool website.
Cool.
They're like real into this shit. So, this initial report was kind of seen as having questionable credibility.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really tell a sea monster to piece the fuck out, and then it's like, okay. Sorry I ate a man. So they say that, though, because, like, at this time in history, there were so many stories of there being, like, you know, weird water creatures or, like, They called them water beasts.
I'm into that name.
Water beast.
Mm-hmm.
They were just, like, popular at that time, so, like, they thought that this guy's story was just kind of, like, another that would, like, add to the myth.
Right.
So it wasn't really like, they thought that people were just kind of picking up on the stories of the time and, like, more or less, like, embellishing them.
Okay.
So no one really believed that this was, like, a real event. So after that incident, like, sightings slowly started increasing. In 1871, a man named D. Mackenzie claimed that he saw an object in the loch that looked like an overturned boat.
Okay.
He said it was, like, wriggling and turning up water. And that its speed was slow at first, but then it soon moved quickly and disappeared. But he didn't tell anybody about this experience until 1934, which was around the time that this, like, Nessie fever kind of started to, kick up. So then he was like, oh, yeah, by the way...
I might have seen something.
I saw something a while ago that I should probably tell you about.
So, like, the original sighting was in, like, the 560s, you said, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we went without hearing about Nessie for, like, 1,000 years.
Well, I think there was probably more.
Okay.
But, like, it wasn't... There wasn't, like, social media or anything like that,
yeah.
you know? Mm-hmm. Like, people weren't, like, recording everything that they'd ever seen.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like people were going around being like, hey, you need to stay away from here because there's some shit
Loch
going
Ness,
on.
scary.
Yeah, fuck that. But I mean, like, look at how many people, like, recorded sea serpents or things like that.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
like...
What is Nessie if not a sea serpent?
Exactly. So, like, who really knows, like, if that particular thing was being recorded or if there was more stuff going around the world that people were like, well, we saw this in the sea.
That's fair.
And, like, this was happening in this body of water, that it might have just gotten, like, lost amongst that stuff. Also, since there was so many stories, like, people were probably just thinking they're stories.
Right.
So, like, when somebody comes out and is like, hey, I definitely saw something in there, they're like, well, that's just a tale. You know? So, but, like, where else do these stories come from? People seeing shit and then either embellishing it or telling you, and then you don't believe them.
Right.
So then in 1888, a mason named Alexander MacDonald reported seeing a salamander-like creature that had stubby legs and surfaced from the loch and swam within 150 feet of the shoreline. So that was another sighting.
Okay.
In 1933, George Spicer and his wife claimed to have encountered the creature as it crossed the road while they were driving. Their description included a 4-foot-tall, 25-foot-long body with a long neck around 10 to 12 feet and no legs. So, like, probably just, like, flippers.
Yeah, just, like, flip-flopping around.
Yeah. Apparently it crossed the road and headed right back toward the loch.
How did it cross the road without legs?
It's
just like, scooting along on its
seals
flippers?
don't have legs.
Yeah, I guess, but you also don't often see them crossing roads.
True. But, like, I don't know if it was a dirt road, a paved road, like, I don't know.
What kind of road was it?
I don't know these answers. Hugh Gray says he encountered Nessie a few short months after the Spicers. His encounter actually produced the first photograph of the monster, but, like, it was lost to time.
Oh, man.
So, like, a lot of these people eventually will start coming up with photographs, but, like, so many are proven to be hoaxes that, like, I don't think we have any that are
legitimate. Yeah.
A few short months later, at the start of the new year in 1934, Arthur Grant claimed to have almost hit Nessie while riding his motorcycle at 1 a.m.
Not Nessie.
No.
Oh, no.
Also, why are you riding your motorcycle at 1 a.m.? What kind of sketchy shit are you doing?
Neither here nor there.
I guess, but you kind of deserve to encounter that then. He said that it crossed the road, flipped back to the loch. He chased it, but by the time he got to the water, all that remained were ripples.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was like, oh, shit.
At least he tried to chase it. You know what? Good on him.
Well, I mean, I guess it's probably easier to just hop off your motorcycle than it is to get out of your car.
I guess.
And, like, 1 a.m., no one's around, so.
True.
Interesting fact about him, though. He was a veterinary student who had a presumably good understanding of animals. So
One would assume.
I guess. He described what he saw as a mix of a seal and a plesiosaur with a small head and a long neck. While he didn't photograph what he saw, he was able to produce a sketch. And the sketch looks like a seal and a plesiosaur. It's pretty much what I thought a Nessie would be.
Okay.
So, probably not the most credible thing, but at least he produced something.
Yeah, sure.
So then the most famous incident happened in April of 1934 when Robert Kenneth Wilson was gazing upon the loch. In front of him, the monster appeared. And he snapped what is the most famous photo anyone has ever seen of Nessie, although eventually be found to be fake. This is the black and white one where you like see it's like
these little humpies.
It's little humpies.
Yeah.
Oh, look, my shadow makes
you got
a
a little
Nessie.
yeah, you got a little Nessie shadow.
I'm like 5 years old over here. Yeah, he had like a whole thing behind like why he faked the photograph. Like it's pretty fucked up shit, but like
yeah.
Bro, don't fucking tease me like that. Makes me mad. So then this one I find the most interesting, to be honest with you, but I couldn't find a lot of information on it, so there's only like a little blurb. In 1954, the fishing boat Rival 3 noticed that their sonar was picking up a large object at about 479 feet that was keeping up to speed with the boat. It followed them for about 2,600 feet before disappearing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Ooh, that thunder's really loud.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone can hear that.
Hey guys, can you hear that thunder?
Let us know. I don't really fucking care.
We don't care.
No. Which, that must be fucking scary. Where you're just like, what is that?
Keeping up with the boat? Yeah.
Ugh.
That's terrifying.
Oof. Freaks me the fuck out. More recent sightings include the Holmes video, which was filmed in 2007 by a lab technician named Gordon Holmes. He said it was black in color and about 46 feet long and moved very fast.
Okay.
There was another video in 2013 which depicted a wave supposedly produced by a 15-foot black mass under the water's surface. That was filmed by David Elder. And then there is also a 2014 Apple Maps satellite image that apparently showed a creature in the loch.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I have not looked up any of those things. I meant to and completely forgot.
Fair.
I was like, I should watch those videos and see what my take is. I did not watch those videos, nor did I see what my take was because I forgot. So then, now we'll go into like some possible explanations.
Okay.
These first couple ones are really fucking stupid. So, first explanation is that it's an animal that's known but being misidentified. So, the first one on this list is an elephant. Yeah. No.
Questions.
Apparently, traveling circuses allowed their elephants to swim in the loch in order to, like, bathe. But, like, come on. Are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me that if you're standing on the shoreline taking a picture, you're not going to notice a goddamn elephant?
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You're going to mistake an elephant for a plesiosaur?
Where you're like, oh,
I don't think they're going underwater. Or at least not like
they
that
can use their
deep.
trunks.
Yeah,
but
sure. But, like, they're not swimming out in the middle of Loch Ness.
Like, come on.
No.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't believe it.
That was the first one that I read, and I was like, is this really a theory? Like, they're not fucking kidding,
dumb.
right?
That's dumb. How about a giraffe? At least that's got a long neck.
Yeah, right? And what's funny is that the Visit Inverness Loch Ness website mentions that, like, elephants were a plausible theory because they used to be able to swim in the loch when traveling circuses came along. And I was like, no, don't encourage this. No. You're fucking wrong.
Yeah. I don't think that's a solid theory at all.
No. The next one isn't either. So, a Greenland shark. So, Greenland sharks are fascinating because
they're old as dirt.
They're the oldest living vertebrate with a lifespan of 400 plus years. So, like, if this was a plausible theory, they've been around long enough that it could have been that.
Sure.
There's some debate as to whether they can enter freshwater. I tried looking it up. Nobody gave me a solid answer. The place who posed this theory, though, was like, they can enter freshwater. And I'm like, where are your sources?
Could you cite that, please?
I know more about Greenland sharks than you do, and no, they cannot. They're also extremely slow moving. Like, so they're not going to,
They're not keeping up with the boat.
No, they're not going to, like, dive fast. They also really like the depths. They're not, like, surface feeders.
Right.
So... they love frigid water, which Loch Ness averages about 42 degrees, which is fucking cold.
Yeah, that's hella cold. But it's not frigid.
No. It's just like... Because they're like... They live in the Arctic.
Yeah.
They have been found... When I was actually researching this, they have been found, like, in more warmer waters. Like, they found them in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, shit.
In weird places. But they kind of inhabit really everywhere. They just prefer colder waters because they're slower moving and they're not going to, like, go out of their way to, like... attack thing. Well, I guess they will, but they're like, they'll eat anything.
Yeah.
They're like the vultures of the sea, basically. So I thought that was kind of a stupid...
Yeah, I don't really buy that.
Yeah.
They also don't have a long neck.
Yeah, what are you looking at then?
Right.
Like, come on. Another theory is that it's a large species of catfish, which also don't believe because...
That big, though? 46 feet big?
I mean, there's large catfish, but, like...
Sure.
Explain the neck.
Yeah.
Like, maybe some ripples in the water I can understand, but, I mean, this one is going to be completely disproven later on when I talk about it, so I also don't believe that. And then there's also otters, birds, and seals. So, that one's a bit more plausible.
Sure.
Seals, I guess, come into the loch. I don't really know that much information about it. Birds, if you see a swan in the right light, I guess it could.
Yeah.
But, like, also, who fucking knows?
Right.
And otters, like, a lot of pictures that people have taken have actually been proven to be otters. Like, just, like, the way that the water is, like, rippling.
Oh, yeah,
or,
kind of, like, disfigures them.
Yeah, or, if they see, like, a certain... Like, there's ones where it's, like, a hump above the water.
Yeah.
It's an otter most of the time. Which was cool, because the way that they, like, looked at this was, in order to prove if it was a hoax or not, they have to compare the regular photo with, like, the negatives. And if they both match up, then it's legit. But, like, a lot of times they were finding that the photo that was taken was actually doctored in some way.
Oh, okay.
Or it was just, like, so blurry that, like, you couldn't tell what the fuck you were looking at.
Right.
Until you looked at the negative and you're like, oh, it's a bird. Like,
right.
So... another theory is that it's, like, some kind of inanimate object, like a tree or a tree branch of some sort that's just, like, floating along.
Okay.
I could get behind that, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, sure. It's not the theory I like, but I believe it.
No, none of these theories are the one that I subscribe to.
No. Which is plesiosaur.
I also don't subscribe to that theory. And I'll tell you why. There's also, like, mirages that I guess can be seen on... Like,
yeah, sure.
If the conditions are right.
Yeah, you look out over the water and, like, you know, there's a fog rolling in.
Because apparently, like, the loch is fucking huge.
Okay.
And then, like, wind blowing a certain way can, like, blow the water in a certain pattern.
Yeah, make you think you're seeing shit.
Yeah. So then, other theories are that it's a plesiosaur that somehow escaped extinction. Unfortunately, though, the loch is probably too cold for it, as they lived in, like, warmer, more temperate waters. Also, the loch was only formed 10,000 years ago. Before that, it was frozen. Before
plesiosaur time?
Yeah.
Dang.
There's not enough food in it to sustain a plesiosaur.
Not even one?
Not even one.
Poor plesiosaur.
It would also need to surface to breathe, like, all the time, so there should be more sightings.
Yeah.
So...
Fine, not a plesiosaur.
I know.
I just want dinosaurs.
I know. I was very disappointed when I read that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what I've been thinking this whole time. Is that there was, like, at least...
Dinosaurs somehow managed to survive.
There was at least a plesiosaur family in there, and it just proved to me. Another theory is that maybe it's an unknown, undiscovered species.
Okay.
Which is something that I think it might be.
Yeah,
like,
perhaps related to the plesiosaur.
Well, that was my next one. Maybe it's an evolved and adapted plesiosaur.
Perhaps.
Who knows?
Not me.
Not me either, because I'm not a dinosaur scientist. I'm not drunk yet, and I can't pronounce dinosaur. But yes, as I said, I think it's just something that, like, we haven't discovered yet, and since the loch is so big, we just haven't been able to, like, pinpoint where it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that's mutated.
Maybe. That's a possibility. If that could explain Mothman, why not Loch Ness Monster?
Why not any cryptid?
Why not?
So then, like, last that I kind of have on here is just things that are worth noting. Do with this information what you will.
All right.
So early in 1933, a road was built along the loch. More people can now tour around it and take in the scenery, which might have contributed to more sightings, because now you have, like, the ability to
get there
to get there. Yeah. Apparently it's like an unobstructed view of everything. So, could also be that since Loch Ness is famous for the Loch Ness Monster, more people report sightings because they're, like, mistakenly seeing something.
Yeah, so it's like self-fulfilling prophecy almost. Like,
exactly
you want to believe what you believe.
Yeah, so you see something, you're like, is it? It probably is.
That would 100% be me.
Oh, me too.
There. I'd be like, oh, did you see that?
It's
but
literally
it's just a ripple.
A duck, and I'm like, oh, there it is! It's there!
There she is, it's Nessie.
Oh my god, could you imagine kayaking on that fucking thing?
No, when we go to Loch Ness, which I'm assuming
we will.
Yeah. We're not kayaking. Firm no.
I can't even handle dolphins.
It killed one man 1,500 years ago. I'm not kayaking there.
Imagine that coming up next to your kayak. I don't even know.
I would just jump in and drown myself.
I don't even know what I would... I think I'd pass out.
Yeah.
I think I would pass out from fear. I don't even know if I have the strength to paddle back because I would be so fucking scared. Like, how big is it under the surface? It's like an iceberg on top. You only see a little bit below. Oh, my God.
It's just the whole lake, man. It's all messy.
I'm, like, getting stressed thinking about a scenario that I'll never have to deal with.
No, never.
Although, like, if someone offered me to kayak on Loch Ness...
I'd probably take them up on
I'd
it.
do it.
I'd be pooping my pants out of fear the whole time, but I'd do it.
But I'd do it just for the experience.
Yeah, sure. Do it for the vine.
Do it for the vine. On numerous sonar searches, unknown objects have been detected. Echoes also done of the lake have also detected something unexplained. So each one of them, there's something's happening, but no one knows what it is.
Is it Nessie?
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Also, fossils of plesiosaurs have been found in the UK. So,
I mean, what I'm hearing is it might be plesiosaur related.
I looked up plesiosaurs on Wikipedia because I wanted to see if there was any, like, evolved branch.
Sure,
you know? Like, what have they turned into?
Yeah, what did they become?
What they became was super fucking scary.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know in Jurassic World, that thing that they keep in the tank?
Yes.
That's what that became.
Shut up, really?
A smaller version of that fucking thing.
Huh.
I forgot what it's called, but yeah, fuck that. That's a no from me.
Firm no.
Yeah. That, I would just jump out of the boat.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Just take me now.
I am not going to fuck around with that.
Mm-mm.
Nessie, I might.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I was very scared.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
And very surprised. Research scientists from the University of Otago in New Zealand recently released the results of a study that they did last year that was conducted in regards to DNA analysis of the loch.
Okay.
So they were trying to basically catalog the species that are in it. So no shark, catfish, or plesiosaur DNA was found. But they did, however, find human, dog, sheep, cattle, deer, fox, bird, and rabbit DNA, amongst other, like, weird woodland creatures, probably because they bathe in the loch.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, most interestingly, though, is that there's a large amount of eel DNA. Could it be some sort of weird mutated eel? Could be. So the problem with this, though, is that eels don't really grow any bigger than 5 feet. Like the ones that they found in that loch.
Okay.
I'm sure there's bigger ones out there. That we know of. Yeah. And they swim more like snakes, so they do like this sideways motion versus like this. So that could account for some sightings where you're like seeing once again like the ripple in the water, or like even if you see like a tail splash up or like something like that. But like an eel isn't coming out of the water and just like chilling the fuck there. Like they don't do shit like that. What about like water snakes? Because they do the up and down motion, right? They're side to side too. They're side to side. Man, I know. I'm disappointed. I know. They're side to side, motherfuckers. They don't do that motion, unfortunately. I know. I don't know if they found, like, water... I mean, I guess they could. They like, released a whole report about it, like, about the species that they found in there, but I didn't see anything, like... But that's not to say that it's not something that's mutated. Yeah. So they're doing actually more research to see if it's possible that one of these eels, or, like, a species of them or something is actually like really big in size. Yeah. But that's gonna take a while for them to do. I just thought it was cool that they literally just did this study. Yeah, that is really cool. So that same study noted that DNA signals in the water only last between days and weeks. Okay. As they said, Loch Ness is pretty fucking big, so they think that it's possible that like they might have sampled the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe. So there could be something there. I love that these scientists are like, we're gonna keep looking. There's a whole fucking like scientific community that's dedicated to finding if there's something in this loch. That's amazing. They had like a I forgot what it was called, like a organization set up to like searching the fucking loch. So in the eyes of science, is the Loch Ness monster like more likely than Bigfoot or the Chupacabra or Mothman or Wendigos? I don't know what their opinion on it is, because, like, I can't really find anything on that, but I would assume that it's probably more plausible just because we don't, like, you're not going to drain the whole fucking loch to find what's going on down there. And plus, it empties out to, like, rivers which go out to the sea. So, like, anything can come and swim in
Yeah.
and swim right the fuck out. You're
Yeah.
not going to know about it. So to me, anything that involves the ocean is way more plausible than anything on land. Because, like, we don't know everything about the ocean. We know
Right.
1% about our world's oceans. And, like, who knows what the fuck is hiding out in there. So, I mean, personally, I do think that there's probably thousands of species that we haven't discovered. And I do think there's probably quite a few that are very large and like to stay deep and hidden away from things.
I believe it.
Because how are we going to know?
Right.
I don't know if we'll ever figure that out. So the other thing was that they said that Nessie's DNA sequence might not have been able to be matched to anything in the databases, which is why it didn't show up.
That's possible too.
Which is kind of cool. Images of this was like another fun fact here.
Okay.
So images of some type of water creature were carved into the rocks near the area by the Pict people in the early 6th century.
Oh, wow.
So there's a chance that they might have been seeing something and just, like, carved it all up in there. And that was around the same time, too, that St. Columbo went and, like, told everyone to fuck off. So.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So
there is hope.
There's always hope. I believe in you, Nessie. Loch Ness obviously, like, eats up this fucking tourism.
I bet.
This is, like...
Hell yeah.
Their claim to fame. This is their
For
lifestyle. Sure. So they have Nessie hunting boat trips, an exhibit/center discussing the history and folklore of the loch, and an area called Nessieland that is dedicated to the Loch Ness Monster myth, and it features a playground, a cave, and a presentation about the beloved monster.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
It's meant for children, but, like, I don't fucking give a shit.
Yeah, but, like, when does that ever stop me and you from doing anything?
That's very true. So... that is the Loch Ness Monster.
I love it. That's great.
It makes me very happy.
I know. Ugh. I think she's out there.
I think she is too. I mean, I know for a while I thought there was a whole fucking family of them living in there.
I mean, who's to say there isn't? One creature does not make a species. There would need to be more than one.
Yeah, you don't just survive and then that's it.
Right.
Like, so I don't know. As I said, I subscribe more to that. It's like an unidentified species of something.
Yeah.
I think these people were for the most part, I do think some people made that shit up, but, like, I think most people have seen something that they can't explain.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not against it, so...
No, definitely not.
I'd go and visit that place. I've known about Loch Ness for so long. I feel like that was, like, the first cryptid that I learned about.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, I feel like people... Like, you hear about the Loch Ness Monster, like, as a kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Bigfoot.
Yeah. Probably the first two.
Yeah.
So, I love it. So that's that.
Nice. I loved it. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you for presenting me with the mouth man. I wish I had a Nessie song.
I know, I was thinking that before.
Nessie!
Hey, Nessie!
I don't know what, like, vibe she'd give off, though. Like,
She's whimsical.
Okay.
She's whimsical.
Do you think she'd play a ukulele?
Nah, she's not that whimsical.
Okay, so, like, ukulele's too much.
Yeah.
But, like...
I don't... Like, maybe, like, a steel drums vibe. Although she's Irish, so maybe we just gotta, like pay homage to Irish heritage, you know? Well, Scottish.
Okay. So, like, some bagpipes.
Bagpipes, yeah. Let's get some bagpipes in there. Not my style, but...
No, but, like...
I would do it for Nessie.
Yeah. I wish that somebody would write a whole album with, like, each cryptid that had a theme.
Could you imagine? That'd be amazing.
I know. Nobody take that fucking idea unless you plan on giving it to me for free. So, I copyright it here and now. Trademark.
I declare copyright.
Here and now, it's mine. If you want to do it, you have to ask for my permission. All right. Enjoy this ad, please and thank you. All right, Kay. Give me what you got.
All right. First, do you want to sing a song about Nessie?
Do you want me to?
I mean, like...
Will you participate?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I made up a song about Nessie. If you're Nessie and you know it, clap your fins. If you're Nessie and you know it, clap your fins. If you're Nessie and you know it, and you really don't want to show it. If you're Nessie and you know it, clap your fins. And there's the theme.
There
also,
you go. Nessie has a song now.
You can't steal that either.
Copyright.
I also realized that I forgot to mention this in the beginning of this whole thing. So remember how last time we did like a questions, comments, concerns about planes.
Yes.
Okay, I realized in re-listening to that how fucking stupid I sound, because I did talk to Wells about planes, and I had mentioned that I found one that was like 300,000 miles per hour, and he was like, no, not possible. So I take that back. The internet lied to me. There are some military planes that they won't tell us about, but not 300,000, so I'm not stupid. I just read the internet. Anyway,
Fair.
Sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so today I'm going to teach you about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Okay.
So my sources are biography.com, Wikipedia, Britannica, and mentalfloss.com.
Okay.
So, Mozart was born in Salzburg, Austria on January 27th, 1756. His full name is Johannes Chrysostomus Wolfgangus Theophilus Mozart.
Sounds made up, but okay.
But he just went by Wolfgang.
Wonder why.
He was one of only 2 surviving children of his parents. 5 of them died in infancy. His father, Leopold Mozart, was also like a minor composer, and kind of like took the musical education of his children like super seriously.
Okay.
His sister, Anna, her nickname was Nannerl for some reason. I don't know, man. I don't make this shit up.
Nannerl?
Yeah.
Like banana roll?
It's Nannerl. Nannerl.
Okay. I mean, his name is a lot of names.
It's a lot of names.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Pretty much. She started learning the piano at age 7 under the guise of her father. Wolfgang, who was 3 at the time, watched the lessons with like a lot of interest, and he quickly picked up aspects of music like tempo and composing, like off the bat at 3.
Cool.
Mozart composed his first piece at the age of 5.
What the fuck?
Right? He quickly picked up the harpsichord and the violin, and then later he learned piano, organ, and viola. His sister was also quite talented, and his father took the pair to Munich to perform for the Bavarian court before Mozart was 6.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I've accomplished nothing, and I'm almost 30, and this dude was like, I'm 6 years old, and I can play 8,000 instruments and
it's
do
insane.
all this.
Only a few months later, they traveled to Vienna to play for the imperial court and noble houses in Vienna. They essentially went on, like, a tour at this point, starting in, like, 1762. They toured through Paris, London, The Hague, which, like, The Hague is the name of the city.
The Hague?
The Hague. It's always referred to as The Hague.
Okay.
Which is weird. And Zurich.
Is there various Hagues that this is the Hague?
Like, it's the number 1, so it's the.
Okay.
I don't know. They were touted as, like, childhood prodigies. Wolfgang met a bunch of, like, influential composers and musicians during these tours, including Johann Christian Bach, who was the son of Sebastian Bach, who is, like, the famous composer. Under Bach's influence, Mozart wrote his first symphonies.
How old was he at this point?
9.
Jesus.
Maybe. These tours weren't all, like, fun and pleasure, though. They stayed at a lot of, like, impoverished, like, houses and in really poor conditions a lot of times. And the whole family got, like, super sick on a bunch of these trips, and performances had to be, like, canceled or, like, not performed or postponed because everybody was super sick. They often got stuck waiting for, like, the noble people that they performed to, like, reimburse them. So I guess, like, they paid all the costs up front and then had to, like, wait to get paid. So they weren't, like, super, like, you know, rich or anything like that. In 1769, Leopold and Wolfgang, they had, like, come home at this point, and then the two of them left on, like, a tour to Italy.
Okay.
Leaving his mother and sister at home. Anna's musical career was, like, pretty much over at this point because she was at, like, a marriageable age, so it was seen as unprofessional for a girl to do stuff like that.
Bullshit.
I know. In Italy, Mozart attended one performance of Gregorio Allegri's Miserere at the Sistine Chapel and was later able to recreate it entirely from memory.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's just beyond me.
Yeah, that is.
It's so
like,
insane.
I can't even imagine. Like,
yeah.
I occasionally play on my keyboard, as you know, and I have to put the letters down on the keys, and even then, I fuck it up a lot.
Yeah.
So
Insane. Like,
can't
he's
imagine.
insane.
Like, when I was younger, I used to be able to, like, listen to, like, a certain thing and, like, could figure it out, but it still took me forever.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he saw this performance once, and this isn't just a song. It's an entire, like, I don't know if it was an opera or a concerto or what. He recreated it all.
Jesus.
From memory.
So fucking smart.
Mozart was accepted into the Accademia Philharmonica, which is like a pretty renowned musical education institution. At about 13, he was like 13 at this time. Wozart Mote
Wozart Mote.
And Mitridate Ridi Ponti to be performed in Milan. So it was like the first opera he wrote at age 13. On subsequent trips to Italy, he continued to write 2 more operas, Ascano in Alba and Lucio Silla. They returned home from Italy for the final time, and Leopold's benefactor died, so, like, the guy who had been paying for them to do, like, these trips and stuff died. He was, like, the archbishop in Salzburg, where they lived. He was replaced by Hieronymus von Colloredo. Colloredo appointed Wolfgang to the position of assistant concertmaster, affording him a small salary. So this gave Mozart, like, the opportunity to work in a bunch of different musical genres that he hadn't previously, been able to try, which is, like, one thing that I didn't know about Mozart is he was the first person to, like touch every genre.
Rap?
Rap wasn't around at the time, but, like, every genre that existed in the 1700s, he touched.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear...
I was, like, playing his stuff while I was, like, doing the research for this. Some of it's pretty good. I mean, like, it's all really good, but, like, some of it is interesting to me, which is saying a lot.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Because I just, like, can't imagine there being, like, other genres in classical music.
I don't know that, like, you and I would pick up the different genres in them, because it's, like, concertos versus, like, sonatas. I don't know the difference between them. You know, and it's like, you know, string quartet concertos versus piano concertos.
I can figure that out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know the difference between a string quartet and a piano.
Well, yeah.
But, like, I don't know the difference between a serenade or a sonata.
True. Okay.
But, yeah, he was kind of the first one to dabble, and you can tell, like, in his stuff, too, when he wrote it, because the stuff he wrote when he was younger, it feels like, almost like comedy. Like, it's got a very whimsical feel to it. He didn't start writing serious stuff until he was older.
Yeah, because that's when you get depressed.
Yeah. So when he took on this role, he started writing string quartets, symphonies, sonatas, serenades, operas. He composed the only 5 violin concertos he ever wrote during this time, before turning his interest to piano concertos. In early 1777, just after Mozart had turned 21, he composed Piano Concerto No. 9 in E-flat major, which is, like, one of the recognizable Mozart pieces. Despite the fact that Mozart was finding great success in his position, he was, like, very unsatisfied in it, because he didn't feel, like, fulfilled. He didn't feel like he was being given enough freedom to do the things he wanted to explore. So he wanted to seek, more opportunity elsewhere. The Archbishop von Colloredo did not give him permission to take leave and travel, but he left anyway with his mom. He was just like, bye, bitch.
Sorry.
Yeah. So the pair traveled to Munich and Augsburg, where Mozart sought employment opportunities, but they all fell through. They stayed with some relatives in Augsburg, where Mozart befriended his cousin, Maria Anna. There's, like, a lot of... Everybody's name is Maria Ann or Anna Marie or some configuration thereof.
That's true.
And the two kept up correspondence. A lot of the stuff we know about Mozart is through, like, the letters that he wrote with his father and, like, his cousin and stuff like that. And he had, like, a pretty good sense of humor. His, like, sense of humor is described as similar to a 12-year-old boy's. So he was pretty mature.
Great.
But, like, that's funny.
That's great.
Yeah.
He's definitely, like, that's what she said her.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Which means we'd get along with him great.
We would.
Mozart went to Mannheim, which is, like, it was a very musically forward-thinking city at the time, and he remained there for 4 months, but he still, like, couldn't find a solid position. There he met Aloysia Weber in Munich, with whom he fell in love. So he and his mother, despite his father's protest, traveled with the Weber family to Paris. They arrived in late March of 1778, and Mozart quickly found a job in Paris. He composed one of his most influential pieces there, which is Symphony K297. They all have very weird number names. Nothing sets it apart to me from anything else as far as the name goes.
I'm like, yeah, that one.
Sure. I know.
Okay.
On July 3rd, while the pair were still in Paris, Anna Marie fell ill and died, though, his mom. So after Mozart broke the news to his father, Leopold secured him a better position for him at home in Salzburg. So he arrived back at home in early 1780 and became the Concertmeister as an organist rather than a violinist.
Well, then.
Yes. That summer, he received a commission to write a serious opera for Munich, which is, like, he was excited about it because it was his first, like, big serious piece that he got to write. So he pretty much was just like, all right, bye, I'm leaving for Munich. Even though he could have written the piece from home.
Okay. I mean, okay.
Sure, I mean, if he can go to Munich, why not, right?
I feel like people during this time are so well traveled, but I'm like, how?
Yeah, like you couldn't fly anywhere. Where were you going?
You couldn't even afford to live in a house.
No, and you're like, I'm just going to Munich.
Yeah, I'll see you in Paris.
Bye. Leopold remained at home until the premiere of the show, so like 10 weeks later or so. So I just found this kind of interesting. There are 4 huge matters that, like, dominate Mozart's letters home during this time. First, he was super anxious, as always, to assure his father of the enthusiasm with which the singers received his music. Super relatable. Second, he was concerned about cuts in his work because he just couldn't write things in shorthand, so everything was much longer than it needed to be.
It's like when I tell a story.
Yeah, basically.
I can't just tell you the bits and pieces of it.
And he's like, but Dad, I don't want it to get cut.
Yeah.
Third, he was always eager to make modifications that rendered the action more natural and plausible. So, like, he wants people to like his work. So he knows he has to make cuts, but he doesn't want to. And fourth, he was very occupied with accommodating the music and the action to the needs and the limitations of the singers. So, like, he knew that people couldn't sing the notes he wanted in the song. So he would just cut them out.
There's your cuts.
Yeah. The opera was met with great success when it premiered in early 1781. In March, Mozart was summoned by the Archbishop to Vienna to celebrate Joseph II. When he arrived there, Mozart was, like, a little bit put off by the situation because he was used to Munich, where he was, like, kind of, like, rubbing elbows with the nobility. You know, he wasn't, like, maybe he wasn't wealthy, but he was pretty popular. And then he got to Vienna, and he was, like, it said in, like, the article I was reading, he was sitting with the valets and cooks. Like, he was quite disappointed by
like, you assholes, you know who the fuck I am?
Yeah, he's like, do you know who I am?
You know that shit that you fucking listen to? That's me.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, basically. He wasn't, like, super thrilled about it. So he wound up, long story short, he got into, like, a big fight with Colorado. And he wound up, like, cutting ties with him entirely and, like, essentially quitting the position that he held in Salzburg. When that happened, he moved back to Vienna to be with the Weber family, but Aloysia had already gotten married. Rumors he began taking on students at this time, writing music to be published. Dear Lord. And, like, performing in local concerts. Rumors started circulating back home to his dad that Wolfgang had begun a romantic relationship with one of the other Weber daughters, Constance.
Shit.
Wolfgang was like, Dad, no, that's not happening. I don't love her. He moved out. He got his own place. And then a couple months later, he wrote to his dad to ask for blessings to marry Constance.
He was like, I couldn't have one, but I could have the other.
It seemed like they really loved each other, though. Like, they had, like, a very nice relationship, from what I was saying. Okay. She did, like, after Mozart died, she did remarry, but spent, like, the rest of her life, like, promoting his work and stuff.
Oh, that's
which
really
is cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is when he, like, started getting a lot of notoriety. He started writing things in the Germanic style instead of the Italian style opera.
Okay.
And he received, like, pretty big success that way. He wrote one, I think it was an opera called Die Entführung. I don't know. I don't speak German. If somebody has better pronunciation on that, please let me know. Thanks to the success...
I know somebody who does the Germans.
Okay, we'll help you out here, man. Thanks to the success of this, he and Constanze lived like a pretty lavish lifestyle. They had like a pretty upscale apartment in Vienna, and they were able to afford to send their son Karl to like a fancy pants private school, and they had like a pretty rich social life.
They
were
named
just
their kid
hanging out.
Carl.
Yeah, with a K.
He's got like 4 fucking names, and he's like, I shall name you Carl.
Carl also had a very long name,
Oh.
but like we're not fucking calling Wolfgang by all 18 of them. So
It's true. It's just such a normal name, Carl.
Yeah. Carl. Mozart became a Freemason around the time, and he was like fairly popular in that community as well. He split his time focusing on solo performances, but for performance space was kind of hard to come by in Vienna, so he would rent out like weird locales for performances. Like if an apartment complex had a really big room, he'd rent that out, or like a ballroom or a restaurant.
All right, I mean,
Okay. But I also feel like if you, like, how pumped would you be if Taylor rented out a restaurant?
I would cry.
Exactly. I feel like that's really cool.
But I also feel like during that time period, there's probably a lot of space.
Apparently,
So,
there
like,
wasn't, like, a huge, like, a lot of people would just have performances in their house.
That's weird, but
I
okay.
know.
But
So
I mean,
weird.
like, isn't there like a field somewhere where you can have like an open air arena? Like,
There you go. Yeah, sure.
That's what
Just
I'm saying,
pop a stage up at one end
Yeah.
and call it a day.
throw your fucking instruments there and
Give me,
fucking.
A rock musical about Mozart where he's just performing in a field.
I feel like it's been done.
Maybe. If it hasn't, it should be, because that's a great idea.
It sounds familiar.
Right? It does.
We'll have to Google that. I feel like there's like something out
I
there.
just see, like, him with, like, there's, like, guitars twanging.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like a hair band, but like Mozart.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1784 was a pretty good year for him. Over the course of a 5-week period, he appeared in 22 concerts, 5 of which he was the sole producer and performer.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's just out here doing this thing, man.
We're lucky I can walk and talk at the same time,
know.
and he's just like, yeah.
He's doing 22 concerts in 5 weeks. That's so many. That's 4 a week minimum.
But I guess if that's your full-time job,
Then yeah, you gotta make the money.
gotta make the money.
In 1785, Mozart met the librettist Lorenzo da Ponte, and they worked together for a time. During this period, Mozart wrote his 2 most well-known pieces as collabs with this guy. It's The Marriage of Figaro and Don Giovanni, which, I mean, you've definitely heard of Figaro.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the other one, though.
No. I mean, I don't know either of them any more than,
Did he write
Figaro, but-
Moonlight Sonata?
I don't know. It didn't come up in my work. Most of his pieces, unless it's an opera, doesn't have a name. It's the number.
Well, I think it's it also has a number, but I feel like we've named it Moonlight Sonata.
I'll write it down for us to fact check.
Yeah. I just want to know who wrote that, because I love that song. I only know Bach and Mozart. And that's about it.
And I mean, a little bit of Beethoven.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, Kaila.
Actually, Beethoven might have written that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
In December of 1787, Mozart was appointed Joseph II's chamber composer, which afforded him a pretty solid salary. This is when his popularity over the next couple of years began to shrink, though. There was a war going on with Austria, so noble people couldn't really afford to patron the arts. They had to put their money into the war, basically. So it was harder and harder for him to find work, and he kind of slipped into a depression. 1788 and 89 were considered his dark years. He described suffering from black thoughts and a deep depression. Historians believe that he may have even had some sort of bipolar disorder, which would explain his manic bursts of creativity coupled with the deep depression he experienced during this time. 1790 to 91 were a couple of good years for him. His works were being revived, and he found favor in the public eye once more. He was gaining his financial footing back thanks to backing from noble people once more. But Mozart's health was declining at this time.
Naturally.
He fell ill in September, and by November he was completely bedridden. He was trying to finish this last work, Requiem, but was unable to muster the strength to do so. And on December 5th, 1791, Mozart died. He was 35 years old. The official cause of death was miliary disease, which basically is like a rash that looks like millet seeds.
Okay.
There wasn't, like, a great post-mortem autopsy at this point, so, like, you know, that's the official cause, but we can't really be certain.
Yeah.
And it was Vienna custom at this time to, like, hold very small funerals with just, like, family basically present and close friends, and be buried in an unmarked grave. So Mozart was buried in an unmarked grave.
Wait, it was custom to be buried in an unmarked grave?
Only noble people had, like, large ceremonies and were buried in a marked grave. In Vienna. This is specific to Vienna.
That's so fucking weird.
So Mozart was buried in an unmarked grave. I still think they have not, like, confirmed whether or not they found his body.
What?
Isn't that nuts?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, well, I guess you probably wouldn't know this, but when did Vienna stop doing that?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Huh. I wonder what, like, the logic behind that was.
I don't know. I guess it was just, like, to keep special people special. I don't know. But, like, he had, like, decent fame at the time of his death. A lot. Like, he was fairly well known.
Yeah.
So it's bizarre to me that he wasn't special enough to deserve a marked grave. But
That's fucking crazy.
yeah. They did hold, like, a bunch of memorials for him in Vienna and Prague, which were very well attended. And Constance had to sell off a bunch of his compositions after his death, presumably to pay off debt because he had garnered quite a bit of it during his lifetime. But later on, she did continue to organize memorial concerts in his honor, which garnered her, like, a financial security and was able to pay for both of their children to go to private school.
Oh, wow.
Some fun facts about Mozart now. On his first tour through Vienna, when he was age 6, he met a young Marie Antoinette.
Ah.
Yeah, he fell on some polished floor and she helped him up. She was like 2 years older, and supposedly he proposed marriage.
Typical.
Right?
Wait, was that the war that was going on though? Like that?
Probably later on, yeah.
That's
they
what I
were
thought of,
6 when they met, but I would assume so.
That's
the
what it sounds like.
1780s in Vienna, Austria.
I was gonna say, like, was that probably because I feel like there was a lot of like political turmoil going on around that time.
The
So I wonder
French
if
Revolution was shortly after the American Revolution, so that would line up.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. Because I think I'm sure one of us will do Marie Antoinette at some point, but
Probably.
like, I feel like that's what was going on around that time.
He didn't let Constance or anybody else breastfeed their children.
Why?
He wanted them brought up on water like he and his sister were.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Isn't that weird?
Well, Mozart, you just lost some credibility.
Apparently, this was, like, a fairly common practice for the middle class at the time, though. And he later did, like, rescind on that and allowed wet nurses and Constance to breastfeed.
Weird, but
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. However, only 2 of their children lived past infancy as well, so, like, maybe... I'm not saying there's a link there, but I don't know.
Maybe since they were only getting water.
Yeah. This one I found very funny. He brought home a pet starling from a pet store once because it was, like, mimicking a piece of his concerto.
A starling's a bird, right?
Yeah. So, and they're apparently, like, very good mimics. So he walked into a pet store. It was mimicking one of his tunes, and he was like, "You're coming home with me."
Guess who has a new owner? You do.
So this sentence starts off poor, but I promise just hang on till the end. You'll get it. The bird died a week after his father died. So the bird died not a week after he got it. It lived like several years. It saw him through like several compositions and moves.
Yeah.
His dad died. Then a week later, the bird died.
Okay.
Mozart did not attend his dad's funeral, but held a very lavish one for the bird. There was, like, parades. He wrote a poem to be said at the bird's graveside. Very weird.
What in the fucking world? What? I don't even have something, like, witty to say to that because I'm
so
just
weird.
so... My brain is just like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah. His last composition, Requiem for Mass in D minor, remained unfinished at his death. In Peter Schaeffer's play Amadeus, which is like the most popularized Mozart like fiction, I guess, that we have. It was kind of implied that Mozart was potentially poisoned by his rival Antonio Salieri, but like historians find no credibility to that. They don't think that he was poisoned.
Okay.
Yeah. And last, he hated the trumpet. Hated the trumpet.
Okay, I mean, I can get behind that.
Yeah, sure. I feel very.
Of all the instruments, that one is the most obnoxious.
That's true. Yes, you're right. He only ever composed one trumpet piece, and even that is like debatable because it's never been seen by anybody.
So okay, then how do they know that he composed the trumpet piece?
They don't.
Okay,
it's believed that he wrote one.
Just for funsies.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it on the life of Mozart.
Very nice.
I know.
I know nothing about Mozart.
I didn't either.
So, I think I got a little bit of musical education when I was in elementary school because we had like music class.
Yeah.
But like that's probably the only thing I've ever.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what I learned.
Yeah, me either.
Clearly nothing. If I asked a bunch of questions because.
Hey man.
I'm lucky I even knew what his fucking name was. Nice.
Did you know that it was Johannes Chrysostomus Wolfgang Theophilus Mozart?
I did not know that part.
Me either.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Yep.
Wham.
And honestly, even that, I probably could have come up with Wolfgang Mozart and maybe separately Amadeus. I did not know that Amadeus was Wolfgang.
I knew that. Good old Wham.
True.
That's what his nickname is now. Wham. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
All right, guys. We will catch you next week, and please don't forget to support us.
Yes, please. We appreciate it and do this because, well, first of all, we love it, but also because I want support.
Okay, bye.